this, the 340 GTWA, the best Saxdor in the range? It has full protection, walk-around decks, 2 cabins, and get this, the base price is €175,000, which in the world of boats is a bit of a steal. The question is, what's it like to drive and live with, and is it better than the all-conquering 320? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. I'm Jack Haines, you're watching YachtBuyer. The 340 GTWA sits in the middle of the Saxdor range and differentiates itself from the 320 GTC with its walk-around design, as the WA in the name suggests. We'll cover how these two models differ later in the video, but you can also compare them on yachtbuyer.com using our head-to-head tool to dig into where the differences lie and which one will suit you best. It quite cleverly falls into a size range that Axopar doesn't cover. The 29 is smaller, the 37 bigger, so it is the 340 in a bit of a sweet spot. Its length overall is 10.8 metres and the beam is 3.1 metres, so it's slightly longer than the 320 GTC, but manages to fit walk-around decks into the same beam. The starting price is impressive, but as tested, the total price is closer to €300,000, once you've added options such as the larger engines, a navigation pack, bow thruster, and the aft cabin option. For more pricing information, read my in-depth written review on yachtbuyer.com. Right, let's start with the tour. Let's cover an important point first. How is this different to the cabin version of the 320 GTC? Well, on that boat, the cabin is full width, so you have to walk through it to get to the bow. Here, you can see you've got walk-around sections, so you can walk around the wheelhouse rather than having to go through it. It's sort of like admitting that on occasion, the Axopar layout is slightly better and people like to be able to walk around the boat. So that is partly what they've done with this model. And let's look a little bit closer at the details here. And there are some nice details when you first get on board. We have pop-up cleats on either side and this really nice glass and stainless steel transom. That feels, really quite substantial, quite posh really for a boat of this size and budget. And you can open it up on both sides. A couple of different engine options, 250s and the 300s we've got here. On this particular boat, this side, there's just some quite useful storage for lines and fenders. But over on this side, this is where you find a grill and a sink. Now another option back here, you can have it completely open, or you can have a bigger wet bar, or you can have this, which I think will be popular because it gives you a sun pad, and underneath here, an aft cabin. How clever is that? With the pop top as well, just like a VW camper van. We'll look at that from inside, but that's quite a cool idea. And I think this is really nice because you've got a table forward, so you've always got a table set up, and you've got this nice bit of sunbathing space. And this window drops down, so you have good communication and good ventilation in there. And the final thing they managed to include is balconies on both sides. Push a button, these drop down and give you a bit more living space, which is something that you really do appreciate on a boat of this size. Before we head inside and check out the wheelhouse, let's go up front. The side decks are actually a bit different. This one has one step up as you move forward. There are 3 over on that side and you go up and over the seating. So this is the passageway you're going to want to use when you're moving forward. But it's nice and easy to walk up here. Slightly narrow, but really good handholds all the way through. I mean, you can hang fenders here, but they've also got fender clips along the side as well, so that's really quite convenient. And right forward you have the dining space, which isn't enormous, but it is nice, as I said back there, that it's always set up for you, so you can come down, have a drink, maybe have some snacks, and you're right here in really comfortable seats. And I like how they've wrapped the seating as far around as they can, so 4 or 5 people could relax up here really comfortably. And yes, you have to clamber over the seats, but you can still get down that side deck relatively easily. This adjusts for height as well. There's a button here, it's electric, drops down to the same level as the seats, and you can use it as another sunbathing space, which is quite nice. Final thing to talk about, up here. So the Saxdors have this reverse shear bow, which looks great, and I really like the way they've mounted the anchor so it sits flush with the bow. However, considering these are designed in Finland, it's very difficult to get on and off the bow, which is something they do quite a lot in these parts, and that reverse shear makes it a little bit tricky. So having a ladder that drops down over the front to help you on and off, I think would be a good finishing touch up here. This is where these big doors really come into their own. First of all, the view is great. You don't feel like you're particularly enclosed because you've got so much glass and because it drops so low as well. When you've got the terraces down, that effect is even better. The other thing is, this comes into its own when the boat's at rest. It isn't great when you're driving. I think the split buckets with the bolsters are much better for that. But in this, guys, you can do that to create the dinette. Obviously, the table opens up and that adjusts up and down as well. The other thing you can do is unpin these armrests and drop these down to give you a perch on either end, which is a really clever bit of functionality. So, limitations on the water, great when the boat's at rest. And in dining mode, often boats like this have really small, rickety, pretty useless tables inside. That is a really nice bit of kit. Chunky, big when it's in half as well, even when it's like this, it's quite useful. And this is a really nice place to sit. You don't want to be stuck inside to dine on a boat like this. You want to be out in good weather, despite the protection. But if you are, this is great. And so much of it comes down to these doors, which open this way, but they also open that way and connect directly to the terraces. That's another really clever touch, as is the way they've integrated the Aft Cabin. So let's pop down there and have a look at that. Okay, to get in here, there's a sliding section at the bottom, and then you pull up this tab, splits in half, and then it just pins and sits up there, and down you go. And voila, here we are in the Aft Cabin. It could be generously described as cozy, but actually that pop top is really important, because if that wasn't there, then the whole top of the cabin is at this level, so that would feel really quite horrible when you're lying down. At least the ceiling is a long way away now when you're lying down, but it's not so you can stand up or anything. It really is crawl in here, get yourself under the cover and go to sleep. There's very little storage. You can at least sit up in bed with this thing up, and they have worked a decent amount of glass in here too, and some ventilation, which is crucial. The berth, well, if I lie flat, yeah, it's not too bad. You're not going to want to spend a week down here, but for the odd night for adults, it's okay. And obviously there's another cabin forward, so let's head there. Access to the forward cabin is a bit more formulaic. Sliding door here into the helm, and then a couple of steps, and you drop down into the front cabin. And this is a bit more like it. Headroom for me, 6 foot tall. As you can see, it's compromised. But there's a little bench down here, so you can take the weight off. No cooking facilities down here or in the cabin. You've got the wet bar outside, that's where you cook. There is a fridge underneath the helm seat. Not a huge amount of cooling space for longer periods of time. But this cabin feels much more usable. If you're a couple, yeah, if you want a weekend away, maybe a bit longer, this would be relatively comfortable. Nice big berth for a start. Obviously your feet are going down that end, so it is a bit awkward to clamber in and out. But what they've done really well down here is get natural light in. Big skylights here in front of the windscreen, a window behind me too. So yes, it's small, but it feels quite bright. And you've got a decent cubicle here to use the loo. It's not a shower, it's just a toilet, and it's very much crouching room only. But they've been quite smart by having this door that opens sort of round the corner. So it's not imposing. If you're not using the loo, you can open this up and it gives you a better feeling of space. Storage isn't great for hanging clothes and things like that. There's small lockers peppered around the place. But again, I really think this is more likely to be used by a couple, and honestly, that aft cabin more likely to be used as storage. Well, as you might be able to tell from my hair, I've just stepped onto the 340 from the 320 GTO, an open boat. I've been being pelted by the rain, and I can strongly suggest that cabin boats are a very good invention. But it's good to jump from that boat, one of the most popular models in the Saxdor range, onto this new one and drive them side by side. But I think at this point we should pick up the pace a bit. We've got a pair of 300 horsepower Mercuries on the back, and the difference with the 320, the GTO, the open boat, is that I was in full waterproofs, and here I'm just in a t-shirt, and it's quiet and it's refined, and it's why boats like this make sense in geography like this, in places like the UK. You can see why they're popular, and the refinement really does stand out. This is 25 knots now, and the engines really are a distant hum. It's what's so nice about this package. Not only are you cosy and warm, the environment's nice, but also it makes it much, much quieter. Now the hulls are very similar. This is slightly longer, the same beam, similar engine options. You can have smaller engines on the 320, but this is going to be a really popular match, I think, these twin 300s with this hull. And though it's a little bit choppy today, what we're mainly going to face, I think, is wash from other boats. But the handling is really sure-footed. But you can immediately feel the extra weight you have over the 320. Obviously, there's a lot more structure here These doors, lovely as they are, they're big, heavy units, so you can feel that weight in comparison to the 320 for obvious reasons. And because of that, because of all this structure, it's slightly noisier when you're going over the waves. You're going to get more squeaking, more rattling, because you've got things like these big doors. And of course, because it's quieter, because you can't hear the engines as much, you're going to be hearing other noises more. And though it doesn't feel quite as sharp as the 320, it romps over this short chop really quite nicely. Landings are a bit firmer, doesn't feel quite as well controlled, but crucially it's got that agility, and that's what such a nice part of these packages. These boats are really easy to move around at high speed. We've got the zip wake system on this boat, so that's in auto mode, that's handling the trim. We've also got the trim assist on the outboards, so really all I'm thinking about is setting the speed for the conditions, and we're now 30 knots into the chop and it feels perfectly comfortable. The only thing I'm missing really in terms of the driving position is you can stand, but this bench is right back. This is an option, this bench. You can have 2 separate seats with a bolster function. This is great for functionality when you've stopped, but I'd say the bolster seats are going to be better for when you're driving, because I'm just a bit too close to the wheel here, although it does adjust, and I can't lean. I've got this right in the back of my leg. Seated, yeah, I'm okay. I feel a little bit low, but I've got a footrest here, so I can just prop myself up. View forward is good. The dash is nice and low with the twin Simrads underneath it. They're nice and close as well, so really easy to control those. Now this is probably topping out close to 50 knots. I don't think we're going to get there right now because it's so choppy. But really, top speed is largely irrelevant. The ability to cruise here at 30 knots, this is what I really like about this type of boat. And do it on a day like this, where it's cold and it's wet and it's windy, and you can just do it in a polo shirt. And you can sit and have a chat nice and comfortably without being pelted in the face with rain. All round visibility is excellent. That rear window drops down. Obviously these open and they lock like that, which is really nice. You just need a little bit of ventilation, and the roof can open up as well. So you've got really good options in terms of ventilation in here, which is important when you've got a big glass area. You've got lots of ways to get the breeze through here. You're losing a bit of the sharpness of the 320. Of course, there is a cabin version of the 320, but what you gain is really comfortable cruising and still really quite potent performance. Hey, having a twin Mercury rig, we've got the joystick, so I'm off the throttles, have got a bow thruster as well as tighten a bow thruster, but at the moment as we approach this pontoon we're going to go side 2, starboard side 2, so I can see. I'm just using the joystick at the moment. There's a little bit of wind, but it's pretty protected here. Just going to swing the bow over so that we've got plenty of clearance on the boat that we're coming in next to. Coming alongside, hard push across on the joystick. The wind is helping us on a bit now, so hopefully I can just line it up and help her drift alongside. This is very manageable, I have to say. You know, this is potentially a starter boat for someone, so this sort of easy slow speed handling where you can see easily, especially coming starboard side 2, it's so easy to see the pontoon here. Knock it back a bit. And there we are, alongside. Easy as that. You know, this is quite a clever move from Saxdor, this boat. They've spotted where the rivals maybe aren't covering a certain size sector and fitted this in really neatly. Not only that, yes, the 320 GTC is a really good overall package, but having this walk-around element is very, very smart. And I think that interior functions very nicely. Now, there are certainly compromises, I think, in the way it drives. Having driven the 320, yes, it's an open boat. And this, that feels sharper, the ride's better, it's quieter, but as an overall package, a usable package to use all year round in a place like Finland, I think this thing's right on the money. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Thank you for watching that review of the Saxdor 340. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a like if you did. And we have tested 2 of this boat's rivals head to head in the same video, the Wellcraft 355 and the Quarken 35. If you want to watch that, I'll put it up here. If you'd like to subscribe to YachtBuyer, you can do that by clicking up there. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.